All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Pass Pirate Pay, the movie discussion show. My name is Ken. I'm your host alongside Andy.
Hello, Ken.
Hello, Andy. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Are you ready to get back into some movie discussions here?
Absolutely, I am.
All right. Well, got some very exciting stuff to talk about this week.
I think very exciting.
Very exciting. I mean, this is something we've been waiting for all our lives, really, right? I mean,
you don't even know.
That's right. We are this week talking about movies about robots that you can have sex with.
Yes.
These are the trilogy of sex robot movies.
Yes.
We're going to be doing Cherry 2000, Subservience, and Companion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a trio of movies about sexy robots.
Sexy robots.
All right, let's dive right in, right?
All right. What order are we going in?
Let's go chronologically. So let's go back to 1987.
1987.
For,
what a year.
For the movie Cherry 2000, which is directed by Steve DeJarnette. This movie takes place in the post-apocalyptic wasteland that is the year 2017.
They almost got it right.
It's pretty close. Yeah, I mean, I think they got it pretty close. I mean, by 2027, we should probably be pretty close to where this movie is at anyway.
Yeah, they were far off.
Yeah, we're getting there. I mean, we're gonna be there. It's, don't you worry. We're getting to the world of Cherry 2000.
First of all, before we get into the meat of things, like, how do you feel about sex bots in general? Because I feel that we are on the precipice of like a paradigm shift.
Okay.
As far as robotics and AI, and I think we might be closer than we ever have been.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm not up on technology. I guess I'm a little scared. I've seen enough movies to know that
that sex bots don't just do what they're programmed to do.
Right. I mean, not just sex bots, even like just robots in general, right? It seems like whenever you give something an intelligence, eventually it's going to find a way to use that in ways that you had not intended for it to be used.
Right, which is a little bit of a common theme.
Yeah, it seems like it's the whole kind of thing.
I mean, but when you're making a movie, like, that is the thing that you need to happen.
Oh yeah,
in the movie.
I totally agree.
Like, I bet if you go back and see movies about technology before,
yeah,
I bet it had the technology doing all these awful things, and then it comes out and it doesn't do those awful things.
Right, exactly. I don't know. I really like movies about alternate consciousnesses as a general kind of movie, where it's like where you get to think about what it means to be alive or whatever, like,
right.
From Short Circuit to Her and the whole range of gamut of things in between those two movies, where it's just like,
right,
who gets to determine whether something is alive? I really like movies that make you think about things like that.
Yeah,
in a way
it's philosophical.
Really cool. Yeah. But as a practical matter, I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared of a sex robot.
Oh, I would be first in line.
Yeah. I mean, you're like me. We're both we're a couple of awkward dudes, so it seems like a woman,
like an introvert's dream.
Yeah, a woman that you could program seems like the kind of thing that would be right up.
It's not really
alley.
even about that. It's about a woman that you don't have to date and small talk.
You don't have to impress her. She's already
impress her. Yeah, because you're a piece of shit.
Right. We are two unimpressive dudes, so we can get a woman that we don't have to impress. It's the way to go.
That's it. That's the big selling point.
Oh man.
Okay, so back into the movie.
Yeah, so Cherry 2000 is the movie's named after the sex robot, but she's not
real prevalent.
It's not a real major character. This isn't as much of a sex robot movie as I was expecting.
I thought there were so many ridiculous things in this movie.
Oh, it's very ridiculous.
It had to have been going for that, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
I absolutely think
feels
so.
like it, but it kind of feels like maybe not. It kind of feels like maybe they were trying to make a serious movie, but like at the beginning of the movie, he breaks the robot because he's banging her in the water.
Right. Like, what is it?
And like, they have sex robots in the future that I'm assuming absorb fluids.
Right, exactly. What in the fuck is the point of a sex robot that's not waterproof? What is happening? Yeah.
And doesn't he know?
Right.
To not roll the love of his life in some water that's going to break her.
But he just got to have it so bad that he knows he's like, I don't care about this water that's going to destroy her.
Wait, stop us, get out of the water.
Right, exactly. Yeah, within the first 5 minutes of this movie, this guy has destroyed his sex robot by banging it in some dishwater. It's just like, and it's like, okay, this is, and he takes it. Every one of these movies that we watch, there are like tech support people. So in this movie, he takes it to the tech support guy, and this movie's version of the tech support guy is like the creepiest dude ever, where he's like marveling at the craftsmanship of this Cherry 2000 sex robot, and he's like, this is a common theme throughout the movie. I guess this is something that happens because it's 1987, where it's just like everybody's talking about like, oh man, there's no pride in craftsmanship anymore these days. People just don't take pride in their work anymore. And it's like every time anybody's talking about these sex robots, like they just don't make them like they used to. It's just like, I guess in like 2005, they had reached the apex of sex robot craftsmanship. But now it's like, fuck it. The Japanese came in and they're just putting out these cheap ass robots. They break one as soon as you get them wet, whatever. But so the plot of this movie is once he destroys his Cherry 2000, he's able to save her memory on this like tiny little disc. Yeah. So now he's got to go into this post-apocalyptic wasteland where he can find a new like chassis of a Cherry 2000 and just plug the memory card back in, and he's and he's going to be back up and running again, right? So he lives in Anaheim, which is like civilization. Yeah. But then as soon as you get outside of Anaheim, it's like a wasteland.
And basically, they filmed the whole rest of the movie in Nevada.
Yeah. Yeah.
They filmed a part of it at Three Kids Mine, which is right down the road.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Because I was looking up on. My dad took me to all these places.
That's really
like
funny.
My dad would just drive out in the desert and take us and
yeah, so basically it's Mad Max as soon as he steps outside of the city. And he hires this tracker named E. Johnson, played by Melanie Griffith, and she's going to take him out into zone number 7, which is like the scariest place outside of in all of the Thunderdome that exists out there. Yeah. And she's going to go take him and get him a new sex robot and fix him right up.
One thing I did like about this movie, though, was kind of the aesthetic of the wasteland.
Okay.
I kind of thought that was cool, and I kind of think other things have borrowed from it.
I think the aesthetic of basically all of this movie is really cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. The way the costumes in this movie are insane.
Yeah.
Like there are people wearing like shower curtains and like it's like
but they really lean into it.
It's great.
They really lean into the silliness of it. And I like started digging it.
The first like 45 minutes of this movie are like aggressively weird in a way that I was totally on board. Like I loved it. I thought it's like this movie is super bizarre and kooky. Like everybody, all of the like, it's funny because Cherry, in the small time we get to see her, she's like a very mild-mannered robot, you know. But all of the humans are insane.
Yeah,
like every single human is just like playing it up to 12. Right. You know, it's just like the first part at least is just really super cool and fun. It's like it's like Repo Man or some of the other like really crazy goofy 80s stuff where it's like people just seem like they had carte
or like
blanche
Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Yeah.
There's a lot of color.
Yep.
Even though it's a wasteland, like all the costumes are really colorful and So yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah. The first place he goes when he gets out of the city is a town called Glory Hole, and he goes,
which is Goldfield.
Oh, is that
it's right? Goldfield, Nevada.
Okay.
And it's a little tiny town on your way to like Reno.
Yeah, all right.
And it's a ghost town now, but that hotel they were at is a Goldfield hotel.
That's really funny because in the movie it's the Glory Hole Hotel,
right?
Complete with a fairly graphic looking Glory Hole logo. But yes, I mean just super interesting and cool, right? But then once he and E. Johnson get out to the business of actually trying to track down his sex robot, and they meet this faction of there's this dude named Lester who like is the lord of the wasteland, and if you come around he's just gonna murder you, right? You know, he doesn't put up with any kind of shit. He's got his own like cult of people, and everybody that's outside of it he just murders them.
Yeah.
So once it starts getting into that stuff, when the movie devolves into like a kind of a typical 80s action movie, it really starts to lose me. I feel like the action sequences in this movie are filmed very erratically and carelessly, where it's just like it's a very muddled and hard to see what's going on. Like there's one sequence where Sam and E. Johnson, they're in her car and and it gets picked up by a magnetic crane, right? So one of these bad dudes, they have their car dangling from a magnetic crane, and there's like 4 different dudes with rocket launchers firing rockets at them. And like she's just leaning out the front door, the car window, while these rockets are coming in, and she's just shooting at them, and the rockets are blowing up like right next to her, and nothing is happening to her, but everybody she's shooting is dying, right? Like
my favorite part though is she's like, okay, we got to get over there, so she shoots the guy operating the crane. I guess because she just knows he's gonna fall into the controls just right
perfectly
to get them where they need to go.
Just perfectly, yeah. When I was a kid, my friends and I, because this is a very common action movie thing where it's just like the bad guys can never hit anybody. It's just like this is the all-time bad guys can't shoot movie, right? Like this, everybody, all of the henchmen in this movie are just constantly opening fire with bazookas and machine guns and whatever they can find, and just nothing. Nobody's ever getting. None of the good guys are ever getting hit ever. It's just like. Nothing is gonna happen. There's a lot of, I don't know, just bad action, I think, in this movie. That's anytime the movie feels traditional, doesn't work, right? That's the way it seems like to me.
It's when it's bizarro, it's
when
fun.
It's kooky and weird, it's doing great. But when it's trying to, I don't know, like
tell a love story.
Yeah, there's this romantic subplot that's going on between Sam, our hero, and E. Johnson, where for some reason she's like falling in love with this guy, even though he's obsessed with this sex robot and he's kind of a drip, like nothing going on. And she's the sexy badass woman, which is like, but she's like falling in love with this guy and is super jealous that he's still in love with his robot. It's like, it's that all of that stuff doesn't work at all.
Yeah. One scene I thought was pretty cool is at the end of the crane scene. I think it's the end of the crane scene. They're lowered into the spillway of the dam.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
I think they might have filmed in it, too.
They filmed in the Hoover Dam?
I'm not sure, but it feels like they might have.
Huh.
I didn't look that up. I know they filmed at Hoover Dam, but I don't know if they filmed in the spillway. My dad took me to the spillway when it overflowed.
Oh, yeah?
In, I want to say, 80-something. But it overflowed into that spillway, and I got to see it.
Damn.
A little personal
nice
touch.
Nice. Oh, see, I recently got some feedback about our show from my friend Jeff. And he says he really likes the show, but he would like it more if we delved more into our personal lives.
Oh, well, there it is.
He says we'd spend too much time talking about movies. So, yeah. Jeff, there you go. We got a little something for you.
My dad took me to like 4 of the shooting locations accidentally from Cherry 2000.
There was one really weird spot in this movie that was, it seemed like they were doing a commercial for toaster ovens. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
It was crazy. Like there's like a 2-minute stretch where this guy is just like extolling the virtues of these toaster ovens
that he has hundreds.
He's got hundreds of them. He's got a store of toaster ovens. And he's like,
underneath the dam.
Yeah. and he's just like, he's talking about what a wonderful invention it is and how you can cook. It's not just for toast anymore. You can cook up all these different things. And he winds up cooking a rattlesnake for them to eat on it. But like, it's really strange. Like, what the hell is going on?
I didn't get the toaster oven thing.
It was very, I have to assume, I guess toaster ovens were probably pretty new in 1987. So maybe
I thought toaster ovens were old.
Is that true?
I don't know.
I honestly
I thought
don't
toaster
know.
ovens were a thing of the 60s.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought they were. Toaster oven feels like the 80s to me. But yeah, so the last half of this movie is basically just a constant. Our heroes are running away from the bad guys or running towards this robot graveyard that they're going to get the new Cherry. And I didn't even realize that they had filmed all this stuff around here, but I was 0% surprised when they finally get to the robot graveyard and it's the ruins of Las Vegas. Like, not at all surprised. Like, oh, it's Vegas, huh? I did not see that coming. No, of course, everybody, I knew 100% of the time they were going to wind up in Vegas.
I'm tired of being Vegas being the mecca of the shit people. Right. I'm tired of that shit. Yeah. Like The Stand.
Yeah.
There was some other ones where this one I just watched called After Earth.
Okay.
It's like a post-apocalyptic movie and he goes through Vegas and it's like a big pandemic wipes everybody out.
Yeah.
But there's 2 like losers there. Just two people in all of Vegas, and he bumps into them, and they're dickheads, and he leaves Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm like, why can't Vegas be a cool place for cool people?
Yeah, we got a bad reputation. Unfortunately, it's just never gonna. I don't think it's ever gonna work. Yeah, for the back half of this movie, there's like 3 different times when Lester, the ultimate badass, is telling his henchmen, he's like, "You got to make sure to keep these guys alive. I want them taken alive." But then, as soon as the henchmen get within any kind of like, as soon as they can see the good guys, they're just immediately opening fire with machine guns. And he keeps saying, he's like, "Take them, I want them alive. They must be taken alive." But all these guys are doing is just blasting with machine guns. They must know that they can't hit shit. It's totally insane. And then, so then they finally do get Cherry back, or they get the new Cherry and plug her memory chip back in as she comes in. And this was like the one good part about the very end for me was, while there's this gunfight going on, Cherry is just totally like nonchalant, like she is totally underplaying everything while everybody else is like screaming and yelling because there's a gunfight going on.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Can you get me a Pepsi?" She's like, "Yeah, a Pepsi. I'll get you a Pepsi." So I thought that was at least interesting. And then he, very predictably, I guess, winds up, the end is he leaves Cherry behind, and he and E. Johnson
fly into the sunset.
Fly off into the sunset.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, whatever.
I like this movie more than I thought that I would.
Okay.
I remember like seeing pieces of it, which is why I remembered it to watch it for this.
Yeah.
I remember seeing pieces of it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And thinking it was kind of cool, but never actually seeing the whole thing.
Right.
Are you all done?
Yeah, that's about it.
So what is your verdict, Ken, for Cherry 2000? Is it pass, pirate, or pay?
For me, this is a pirate.
Is it?
Yeah. I think there's enough cool, weird, goofy stuff going on here to carry you through, even though the second half of this movie is pretty
I'm the same. I am surprised that you are a pirate.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to not like this at all.
Yeah. I did, It, like I said,
I thought the acting was real bad.
It was pretty bad. It's
had the Melanie Griffith. I don't know why she got in other movies after this.
She
was so bad.
She's never been good, right? Like
I think she's been better.
I don't know. I've never seen Working Girl, but I've never seen a Melanie Griffith movie where I was like, she's good.
I definitely remember Melanie Griffith being a better actress than this. Yeah, she got better for sure.
She's definitely not good in this movie. That is 100%. And this dude, whoever the guy is who plays Sam.
Yeah, he's just blank face.
Holy shit. He's like the blandest dude you'll ever.
So man, I think the production design is just doing the heavy lifting, right?
I agree. Totally. Like the set design and costumes. Like that is what's carrying this movie through.
Yeah, visual effects weren't really there. Yeah. It was all pretty practical, right? Like,
Yep. I should mention there's a brief cameo from Lawrence Fishburne.
Larry Fishburne, actually.
It was Larry back then.
Larry back then.
Yeah. There's a weird, like, the reason why
this thing kind of rang true a little bit, where they're like negotiating consent.
Yeah. So the reason why our dude is so into robots is because apparently
women are just cold bitches.
Yeah, this is another 80s thing, right? Where it's just like, I guess women in the 80s were tired of getting raped all the time or something. So it's just like, wait. So now the response from the dude making this movie is just like, oh, these women, we got to get a lawyer every time we want to have sex. And of course, that's a thing in this movie. So Larry Fishburne comes in as like the lawyer who is negotiating the terms for these two people who are trying to have sex.
It is pretty fucking stupid.
It's really fucking dumb.
Like, no wonder they get robots. This is such a hassle.
Right. It's like,
bitches don't want to fuck no more.
All right. Our second movie today is 2024's Subservience, directed by S.K. Dale.
Mm-hmm.
This movie came out last year. I remember it stars Megan Fox as our sex robot this time.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing a trailer for this movie, and when I saw the trailer, I said, Mark was sitting next to me. I was like, "Oh, it's the AI that rocks the cradle." And boy, is that right? So the actress who plays the wife in this movie, Madeline Zima, she actually played the daughter in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. I was like, this has to be stunt casting because this is basically the same movie, except instead of a sexy blonde woman, it's a sexy AI robot woman.
And in Hand That Rocks the Cradle, it was like a babysitter?
Yeah, she's the nanny. They hire Rebecca De Mornay as the nanny, and she comes in and she just immediately wants to start taking over the family.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the plot of this movie as well.
Yeah.
So again, this movie, not technically about a sex robot.
Sure it is.
But
it's got the parts.
But wow. Like Megan Fox, she is sure acting as though she's a sex robot.
Yeah.
Like every single scene between her and the husband in this movie is just like, she is just like exuding sex.
Yeah.
Like she is just the way she's talking to him. Like, it's so funny when you watch the scenes where she's talking to the wife. It's like she's doing completely different intonations.
Yeah, it's like Siri.
Right. Yeah. But when she's talking to the husband, she's like, my only desires are to please your desires. It's like it's revealed at some point that he like reset her programming to make her like the movie Casablanca. And it was at that point where she became self-aware and started to have the desires of her own. But it's just like it really it didn't really take much to send this robot over the edge. Like she is pretty much like trying to become this guy's new wife immediately.
So in Cherry 2000, I respected that movie. You know why?
Why?
Because the robot followed its programming through the whole movie.
That's true.
It did not veer from it and turn into a weirdo murderer.
Yeah, I guess, if we can instruct our robots to like movies from the 1940s, then there's no telling who they will murder. Right?
Yeah, like for some reason that was the one little space you could get through the code.
Right.
And turn your robot into a murderer.
Right. I guess like maybe this sexy Italian man is enough to turn this robot's head. This is,
Yeah, it does it for regular people.
Right,
regular
exactly.
Women.
So it's just like, this guy is just too sexy. Even a robot can't help but
and if I was going to get a Megan Fox sex bot, it would definitely be Transformers era.
Oh, I mean,
I don't know about this Machine Gun Kelly run through Megan Fox they got going in this movie.
Oh, you're saying 2024 Megan Fox is no longer hot enough to be your sex robot?
Not that old lady.
That's what you're saying?
Nah, not gonna do it.
Yeah, she looks like a hag in this movie. She's disgusting. It's totally ridiculous.
I mean, if it's cheaper, I guess I'd take it. Transformers era Megan Fox that's gonna be a pretty penny.
So this is the thing about this movie where it's like the Megan Fox robot is designed to be a nanny or housekeeper or something, but like clearly they built it with a vagina because the guy fucks it at one point.
Probably one that lubricates itself.
Right. And like she has these like really crazy long fingernails. It's just like, if you have a robot whose job is to do domestic tasks, why would you have
sexy nails?
Yeah, what is with these fingernails? Like, this movie, it seems to be saying that all robots are sex robots because people are perverts. Is that what
that's not a far-fetched
I agree.
claim.
Yeah, I agree. But it's just very
people
strange.
Are going to fuck sex robots if they look like that thing from when the day the Earth stood still. Doesn't have to look like Megan Fox.
Just needs to have a hole. That's all.
Yeah, probably doesn't even need to lubricate itself.
But it's just like it's very strange how like just immediately sexual this robot is. Where it's just like we're not even pretending that that's not the function of this robot, even though everybody who interacts with it is just like, oh no.
I think they are pretending a little because she's dressed fairly conservatively.
That's true. That is true. But at the same time, like, there's nothing about the robot's mannerisms that are suggesting that
No, it was a badly made movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes.
It was badly made movie. They didn't think about a lot of things. They didn't really explore sex bots or house bots, or they didn't really explore any of it.
This movie feels to me like, remember The Net with Sandra Bullock in the 90s?
Uh-huh.
Or any of the atomic panic movies from the 50s, where it's just like anytime there's a new technology.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this earlier with.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And this movie is just leaning all the way into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have
Terminator.
AI is this new force. It's taking it's this thing that's starting to more and more take over our lives. So let's make a movie that's going to play off of people's panic about it.
Right.
And that's exactly what this movie is. It's AI hysteria is the whole point of this movie, right?
And there's a few of those movies coming out.
Yeah.
Came out.
Yeah. I mean, because
recently,
that's just the way the world works, right?
Yeah, it's also how horror movies work.
Yeah,
horror movies in general play on the fears of society at the time,
right? And so this movie is the hero he's a scumbag who fucks his sex robot while his wife is in the hospital, but he's ostensibly
it calmed him down, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, so he is a construction worker whose entire crew has been laid off because of robots. You know, he's the foreman of the crew, so he gets to stay on, but everybody else gets replaced by robots.
Yeah.
But he is an old movie enthusiast. He has an electric car, but he prefers his old muscle car, hot rod, gas guzzler. So he is basically, he's a Luddite. He is anti-technology, as most of the people in this movie are. And he is proven correct because the robots become insane. And the Megan Fox robot is like psychotically powerful. Like, she has the ability to, like, she's super strong physically and nearly invincible, but also has the ability to, like, take over the minds of all other robots in her vicinity.
Does she hack herself to do that?
I think so.
I want to say there was a scene where she, like, hacked herself to do that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what happens, but, like, it didn't take much for her to get the ability to have that happen.
Right, because if it took too much, then we got a blockage in the story.
Right, yeah, exactly. But yeah, so she's able to, like, take over all the computers in her immediate vicinity.
Yeah.
And she, at one point, the robots are trying to kill the wife and the kids. And she's trying to escape in a car, but all the cars are electric except for the dude's gas guzzler. And so Megan Fox is able to shut down all the vehicles in the area because, once they're on the grid, it's the Matrix,
Right.
The machines have total power over everything.
And supposedly, aren't these Megan Fox robots, like, everywhere?
Yeah, they're all over.
This one, like...
Yeah. So there's a scene at the end where a guy from the robotics company comes in and he sees the wreckage that's been caused and that the Megan Fox robot has taken over all of these computers on the network. And he's like, his immediate response is, of course, people can never find out about this. We have to shut this sound down, and it's gonna be the worst thing. We make sure nobody can ever find out about this. But then he's immediately killed, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, like there's really not a lot happening in this movie. It's a paranoid freak out anti-technology screed. Like, it's just
completely predictable.
Yep.
Not very sexy.
Not a lot of sexy.
They could have got. I saw 0 Megan Fox nipples. not even a robot nipple.
Yeah.
They could have done fake nipples,
right?
Because it's a robot.
Yeah.
Didn't even get that.
Yeah. Not sexy. Not scary. Not interesting. There's just not
unique.
Yeah. There's just not a lot going on in this movie. It's
I was really hoping for some fun sex bot stuff, and it didn't happen.
Yeah. It was, I don't know. I guess it's not too much to say. Like, the wife in this movie she gets a heart transplant, so that she's in the hospital for the whole first half. But then when the Megan Fox robot starts rampaging, all of a sudden the wife is able to, like, jump in, climb on the outside of the house through, like, at one point she's serving lasagna and almost passes out from the exertion, but then 10 minutes later she's, like, climbing in and out of the windows of their house and, like, running through this hospital to try to get away from the advancing robot horde. And it's just like, it's totally ridiculous and nothing matters. Nothing makes any sense in this movie. Yeah.
All right, Ken.
Yeah.
All right. So what would you give Subservience? Would you give it a pass, pirate, or pay?
Yeah, this is definitely a pass for me.
Yeah, pass for me too.
Yeah, for sure.
It was pretty dull.
Yep. Yeah, at one point I was definitely watching this movie thinking, how is there still so much time left in this movie? Like, I was about halfway through it. I'm like, how are we not almost at the end? Like, the scene where the Megan Fox robot freaks out and like tries to drown the baby comes with like 35 minutes left in the movie. Where it's just like, what the fuck are we doing? How is there still so much time left in this movie? This freak out, like, robot goes full monster scene is supposed to be like the last 10 minutes, but it's just like, how are we going to fill so much time left in this movie? But oh no, I forgot to factor in the part where she is also going to become like Agent Smith and take over.
It is going into God mode.
Yeah. But yet still able to be taken out by an alcoholic in a Mustang and his heart transplant wife. All right. Our final movie today is 2025's Companion.
Yes.
Directed by Drew Hancock.
The catalyst for the sex bot.
That's right. Exactly.
Episode.
In theaters now. This movie, again, about a sex robot. This time, the sex robot is malfunctioning because its user has decided to jailbreak it.
Yeah, I wish that I did not know it was a sex bot movie.
Me too. So I saw the first trailer for this movie, I don't know, like 3 months ago,
Which
maybe.
was super vague.
And the first trailer was super vague. And then...
And made me interested.
I was 100% in.
Yeah.
The first trailer was so cool. I
had no idea what it was about.
No clue. I'm like, I'm so on board for this movie. And then a second trailer dropped where they spell out the fact that she's a robot and start going into detail. The trailer doesn't actually ruin that much of the movie, but I was terrified. The first like 4 times that the second trailer for this movie came on in a theater, I like ran out of the theater or like covered my eyes and ears because I didn't want to see it. But eventually I did wind up seeing it, and I was like, God damn. It's
because they don't reveal that she's a sex bot until like 20 minutes into the movie.
Right, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know? They just drop little clues.
Right. Yeah. I do have a problem with movie trailers giving away too much of the movie.
I've always had a problem with that.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate.
You know what ticked me over was Castaway.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember.
I don't.
But the trailer for Castaway was the entire goddamn movie.
Oh, really?
They showed him getting off the island and acclimating back into society.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we all go to see if he's going to get off the island.
Right.
And they showed the whole goddamn movie in the trailer.
Yeah, I definitely hate that. But this movie, the trailer does give away that she's a robot, but it doesn't give away a lot because there are some excellent secrets in this movie that are actually revealed. And and it does a really good job of doling out its information sparingly. So this movie stars Sophie Thatcher as Iris, the robot. It's our second time with Sophie Thatcher on the podcast. You remember she was the sluttier Mormon chick in Heretic.
Yeah.
And man, good run for Sophie. She's
yeah, and she did such a good job in both movies. I didn't realize that was her.
Yeah. So the stuff that I was talking about earlier when I was talking about how I like movies about AI, where it's delving into what the nature of consciousness is and the nature of being a human is and stuff like that. This movie, I feel like, does a really great job of it.
Yeah.
Where all of the human characters in this movie are terrible.
Yeah.
They're awful. They're just like the worst human beings alive.
Right.
And there's 2 robots in this movie, and the robots are like really sympathetic and likable. You're totally rooting for like Iris is so far and away the most sympathetic character in this movie.
Yeah.
And you're rooting for her the entire time.
Yeah.
Even though she's this robot who has murdered a guy.
Yeah.
Like that's what we know in the first like half hour of this movie. The thing we know about her is that she's a robot and she has murdered a human being.
Right.
A total shitbag.
A shitbag. And also she was provoked into it.
Right. Of course.
She was totally set up to do it.
Right. Of course. Well, yeah, that's what we later learn. We learn that her human handler has jailbroken her, hard drive.
Yeah.
And like managed to fix her. So because obviously, if you have a sex robot, the manufacturer is going to make it so that you can't use it to murder people.
Right. But so it can't hurt anybody.
Right. Exactly. You know, the Isaac Asimov's rules of robotics or whatever.
Right. Which are always broken in robot movies.
Yeah. But yeah, so he makes it so that she is now capable of hurting humans. And surprisingly, that does not go so well for these people.
No, it's like Fargo after that. Everything falls to shit.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like this movie is full of really interesting ideas. It feels like a weirdly feminist movie for a movie about a female sex robot.
Okay.
Where it's like the character of Josh is played by Jack Quaid, who I fucking hate that guy.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know if it's because he's good at being hateable or if he's just like every time I see that guy, I just want to punch him.
I don't. The first time I ever saw him was in The Boys.
Yeah,
and
I
think he
hate
does
The Boys.
Oh, you do?
I think that's part of the problem.
Oh, I love The Boys.
I think The Boys is garbage.
I think The Boys is fantastic.
Yeah, so I think that might be part of the reason why I hate him. And so he's on the screen in this movie, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing because he's supposed to be really hateable in this movie, and I fucking hate him. Holy shit, he is like it really helps him to be an unsympathetic character by the fact that I just look at his face and I want her to smash it in.
So do you not like him as an actor?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think I've only ever seen him in The Boys and this. I could be wrong about that, but
I think he was in something recently.
Those are the things I know him from. But his character is like, he does all of these things that horrible dudes do, right? Like he's got all this incel shit where it's just like nobody's gonna love him. That's why he has to have this sex robot, right? And he's constantly talking about the things that he is owed. Like you have to love me. I am owed your love and your respect. Like constantly talking about the things that the world owes him. He is constantly like gaslighting her because, like, you know, he is in control of what her reality is. Right. So I mean,
you can gaslight a robot.
Right?
Come on.
Of course.
That's the whole point.
Of course. But when the movie presents the robot as the sympathetic character, it comes off as this guy is a gaslighting dickhead, which is awesome. Yeah. Like it's a really cool.
It's a cool dichotomy for the.
Yeah, it's a really cool trick, you know, and like
and
he's
a
also,
really cool thing to tie into like modern stuff too.
Yeah. He's like even before he starts like physically beating her up. He's abusing her. He is abusive to her. He treats her. I mean, she is an object, right? So it's weird, but like this movie feels like it has a lot more to say about how terrible men are than about anything about robotics, right? The fact that Iris is a robot doesn't seem like central to the point of the movie's trying to make to me. It seems more about how terrible humans are than about what technology can mean for society. You know what I mean? But it also does really cool technological stuff too. Like there are scenes where Iris gets control of her own programming and we're like watching her. She's got this tablet and she's like upping her statistics and
changing her eye color.
She's changing her own eye color.
Yeah.
It looks really super cool. Like she's giving herself extra intelligence and doing all this like this cool, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I thought all that stuff was really cool.
I thought when he was revealing to her that she was a robot and like revealing the plan that they had and everything.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. How she was breaking down and like her whole reality was crumbling.
Right.
And
yeah. And it's like she gives Sophie Thatcher gives a really remarkable performance, I think, as like it's hard to be simultaneously a robot and a sympathetic character, right? Like at no point.
I don't know. Robin Williams did it.
Because at no point she's always a robot, right? It's even though Iris is the most likable person in the movie, she's also never not a robot. So the performance that Sophie Thatcher has to give to walk that line between being the most likable person and also never straying from being a robot is like a really fine line to walk, and I think she does a really great job with it.
Did you catch his nickname for her?
I don't remember. Yeah, what was it?
Beep Boop.
Oh yeah, Beep Boop. Yeah.
I didn't get that till way after.
Yeah,
and I read a tweet about it. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he's
said how diabolical
Yep.
is the pet name Beep Boop.
It's pretty sick. I should clarify. I did say that all of the human characters in this movie are pieces of shit, but that's not strictly true. Once again, we get a scene with tech support people come along.
Oh yeah,
and those guys are fantastic. Where it's like, so he has jailbroken Iris to make her murder this dude.
Right.
And now he's got her completely disabled. And he puts a bullet in her head thinking that that's going to wipe out her memory. Right. But it's revealed that her memory is actually in her abdomen or whatever. Mm-hmm. So the tech support dudes are talking to Josh about her. And they're just like, yeah, I know. It's really weird. I don't understand how that could happen. Yeah, whatever. And then as soon as they leave the room, like, what happened? Oh, well, he obviously jailbroke her. That guy's fucked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he modded her for sure. He's in drums. Yeah.
That scene was really funny as well. The final scene that I really, really loved. So Iris, as she's escaping, she removes one of her own hands. Because it's the skin of her hand
it's burnt, remember?
Is burnt off, right?
Yeah.
So she's got this one Terminator robot hand, right? And so she's leaving at the end, and she's driving down the road, and she looks over at a car that she's passing, and there's a dude with another Iris robot in the car. And so she waves her robot hand at the other Iris.
Yeah.
And it's just because the thing about in this movie is that the robots don't know that they're robots, right? So this Iris is now looking over at her and seeing this other version of herself with this robot hand, and it's like, oh, what's gonna happen there? And it's just that's the thing we're leaving the movie on, where it's we don't get to see what's gonna happen, but you can start to imagine what's gonna happen with this other Iris robot. But yeah, this movie was just it was a lot of fun. It was full of interesting ideas and also a lot of fun.
And it was tense, but also still lighthearted.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. It was a great ride. I really enjoy the hell out of this movie.
I don't know what it is about A24, man.
Yeah.
They are batting 1,000.
They do really good work.
And it's so weird because on its face, this isn't a crazy, complex, deep movie. It's just a fun movie with, I don't know how they're doing it, man.
I don't understand it. I don't know. I mean, the answer is they keep finding really good filmmakers, right? I think that has to be the answer.
And writers, the writing is really good.
I'm just really interested in whatever Drew Hancock does next. I'm totally on board. I feel like this movie.
Do you think that they're also not afraid to take risks? It feels like they're taking way more risks.
Oh yeah, of course.
Than any other studio.
Yeah, I mean, they're making this is the studio that made Everything Everywhere All at Once, right?
They have such a big line, and because they're making these singular, never before seen, cool, unique movies.
Yep.
And they don't know if they're going to do well.
Yeah. But I don't think it really matters, right? Because what are the budgets of these movies, right?
They do seem to be pretty low.
This movie, it doesn't look cheap, but at the same time, there's not a lot of pricey looking special effects going on here. Right. I can't imagine this movie costs a crazy amount to make. So all it has to do is be a modest success, and I think A24 is doing a great job of that, where they're just they're putting out these movies with small budgets, and they're finding not huge audiences. This movie is not an Avengers movie. It's not going to get all the ssame people, but people who really you and I, we're people who really like movies, and we know that when you see A24, that's a sure sign that you're going to get something interesting,
right?
And yeah, I'm just it's great. It's so cool that in this age of most movies being either huge IP tentpole franchise movies,
right? Your zero risk, built-in audience,
right? Exactly. Your comic book movies, your Jurassic movies, your Star Wars movies, whatever, all that bullshit, and then everything else is just Netflix cheapo bullshit that is never going to see a movie screen ever.
Yeah.
But then for there to be, I mean, there's a few studios.
A Neon is a good one.
Exactly. But for A24 to be out there just consistently finding these hits, just making these really good and really interesting and really cool movies is just fantastic. I mean,
I'm making movies for adults too.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Thinking movies for adults.
Yep. Fantastic.
So, Ken, what would you give Companion a pass, pirate, or pay?
Companion is definitely a pay for me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, loved it. Oh, look at that. We agreed all 3 times this week.
All 3.
We a pass, a pirate, and a pay from each one of us.
Wow.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
It was very clear, though. Well, no, Cherry 2000 wasn't very clear.
Yeah, I was pretty sure that you were going to really like Companion and pretty sure that you were going to really not like Subservience. So, yeah, those two were pretty
What did you think that I was going to think of Cherry 2000?
Yeah, see, I don't know. I thought you had seen it before, so I didn't know how much nostalgia you had built into it.
No nostalgia.
It's just a cool enough movie to carry it through. Like we said, it's not a groundbreaking movie, but at least it's interesting and fun in a lot of parts.
All right, so Ken, should we talk about what we're doing next week?
Yeah,
on the
let's
show?
discuss next week. So 1 week from now-ish, when this episode drops, is Oscar Sunday, my favorite day of the year. I love to watch the Oscars and get big mad, so it's just kind of my thing.
When the movies that you don't like win, or when they lose.
Yeah, exactly. I sometimes you get really wonderful things happen at the Oscars, and it makes it all worthwhile.
There's lots of surprises all the time.
Yeah. So this year I will be wearing my Anora hat and praying for good things to happen for.
All right, don't spoil the episode, Ken.
But so in honor of the Oscars, we are going to be doing our Best of 2024 Oscar special.
Yeah.
So you and I are going to present our top 10 movies of 2024.
That's going to be hard.
Yeah. I already got my list. I'm whittling it down. I'm making it work. And then we're also going to do a little stuff talking about Oscar categories and things we feel like should win, things we feel like might win, and stuff that totally got snubbed and shut out. So we'll give some thoughts on those.
Yeah.
So yeah, next week, big Oscar preview.
Right on.
All right. See you next week.
All right. See you next week.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to Pass Pirate Pay. This episode was produced by the one and only Andy Morris. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. We'd hate for you to miss out on all the fun. Curious about where to stream the movies we talked about? Head on over to passpiratepay.com. We've got everything listed with handy links on where to watch. You can also join the conversation on our Facebook page or stalk our cinematic musings on Letterboxd. Links are on the site. Got a movie or a TV show you think we should review? Fill out the contact form, or this is cool, you can even text us right through the episode player on our website's front page. Thanks again for hanging out with us. Until next time, keep watching, keep rating, and keep it past Pirate Pay.